Welcome to the Colorado A-List. We're building a thriving business community based on generous leadership and authentic connections. I'm your host, Matt Brower, and today's episode is brought to you by Column Commercial Partners. Column Commercial Partners is a Colorado-based real estate company exclusively advocating for the tenant and buyer side of the table. If your company has real estate needs coming up, you can find them at www.columncommercial.com. Today's guest is a rock star entrepreneur that's making big waves in the Denver business community. Originally from St. Louis, where she opened her first location for her company, she moved to Denver about a year ago to open her second location of Rise Collaborative. I cannot believe how fast she has moved to open this facility, which is where we're sitting right now. Rise Collaborative is changing the way women do business. I'll let her talk a little more about that. On top of that, she's an author and a speaker. Thank you for being on the show, Stacy Taubman.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here. It's a little embarrassing when people read your bios, but it should be fun. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, you're up to a lot, and it's inspiring to see how much you have going on and how you're making it all work.
Yeah, well, I don't sit still well, so that explains a lot.
Yeah, so I'm trying to remember where we first met.
So I was starting to come to Denver. February 2018 was the first time I ever set foot in Colorado. I'd never been to Colorado my entire life. I thought it was just the mountains everywhere. It was freezing, you know, and now I realize they have fabulous weather. And so I started coming every couple weeks. And in like March or April, I went to an EO event, and we actually sat at the same table. Yes,
that's right.
I was so nervous. I was like, "Who am I going to talk to?" And there was a smiley, nice man sitting across from me, and so you made the event very, very enjoyable.
Oh, that's right. Yes, and there was somebody speaking on marketing. Or
it was How to Never Lose a Customer. It was a great book. Yes.
Wow, you have a good memory.
It's the teacher in me. You know, I used to be a high school math teacher, and you know your students, and you know the details of their lives, and you know what's going on. So that's how I roll, I guess.
That's great. And since then, we've gotten to know each other quite a bit better. We're at the same gym now.
Because of you, I found Awaken Gym, and I love it.
Oh, my God. Body weight training, gymnastics, strength training. It's so fun.
And on Instagram, as you saw, I almost fell on my face trying to pretend like I'm still a gymnast.
It's a very humbling place to work out.
It is.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I want to, maybe let's jump into, I kind of want to hear about your past, but what I'm specifically interested in right now is like, where did you, Rise Collaborative, for those that don't know, is a place for, it's a co-working space specific to female entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Well, be careful. I'm gonna fix you on that one. You know, co-working does tend to be for entrepreneurs, and people often say co-working, and we have that aspect, but my whole why goes back to being a high school math teacher, which I know sounds kind of weird. But I left teaching to start a tutoring and coaching company for high school girls, and that's really what fuels everything I do. I have a passion for helping high school girls achieve their dreams, as hokey as that may sound to some of you all. But so my why is still that. So I want a young woman to say, I want to be X, and I need X in my community. And so when you think of high school girls, some of them may aspire to be entrepreneurs, but there's many other fields and many other professions out there. And so our community is not a community of just entrepreneurs. We say professional women because we have everything from startup to CEO of a $500 million company.
Wow.
And everything in between.
Members here.
As current members between St. Louis and Denver.
Yeah, that's correct.
And it's as young as 24 and as old as 78. And so it's really, when your goal is to inspire young women to dream and achieve big, you're going to have to attract women from all walks of life.
Right.
So my demographics make me sound like I'm everything to everyone, which in business is not wise. But my psychographics are much better. It's ambitious women who are striving, who believe in giving back to the next generation. Yeah, all that fun stuff.
Incredible. And I know you have a lot of events that you put on here.
We do. Once a teacher, always a teacher. Mm-hmm. And so this idea of curriculum and really thinking through how to help people to learn and grow. And so we actually have themes every month for our members, and we have programming every week led by members for members.
What kind of themes?
Well, if over here on our lovely placard, you'll see that this month is Biz Dev and Sales. You know, I feel like back to school time in August, you're ready to get back focused in business, whereas like in July, we talked about creativity and innovation. So a little bit different topic because it's summer, we can explore and have fun, whereas August is back to school, time to get focused, biz dev and sales. And September is all about productivity and time management. So really thinking about what is a professional woman experiencing, no matter what her what industry she's in, whether she is an entrepreneur or she's in corporate or maybe she's remote workforce. There's lots of different types of women who are attracted to our curriculum. And my business partner actually said I need to stop calling it curriculum.
That's the math teacher.
because people are going to feel like they're back in school, so stop using that language. But a lot of people are attracted to our programming.
Yeah. It's incredible because, yes, you are a place for people to come and run their business out of or work from.
Right.
But you're adding another layer of value, basically, from any other co-working space that I'm aware of.
And when I first opened, for me, it was all about the workspace. I needed a place to work. I was sick of the coffee shops. I was sick of working from home. So for me, it was about the workspace. And I assumed it would be the same for the other women.
Yeah.
I have 300 members in St. Louis. We have 6,000 square feet, and we're nowhere near capacity. And the reason for that is it's not always about the workspace for my community.
Yeah.
Half my community is what's called social members, which only get 1 day a month of the actual workspace. They're joining because of all the programming and the family and the community and making a difference in a young woman's life.
That's great.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing here in Denver, too.
Yeah. Yeah, and so when was the official open date here?
April 2019. April 17th was our grand opening party. And here we are in end of August?
Yeah.
We have 150 members and all our offices are sold out.
Oh my
so I
goodness.
can finally sleep, right?
And what I don't want to step over is that you first stepped foot in Denver February of 2018.
Isn't that kind of wild?
And 1 year and 2 months later, you have
150 members.
You're opening. Oh my goodness!
And if it was up to me, it'd be 300. But I need to learn to simmer down.
Wow, that's incredible. What is your favorite part of operating a business like this and kind of building a community like this?
Yeah. My favorite part is the people side of it. I love getting to meet all these amazing, kind of like what you and I were talking about a minute ago about doing a podcast, right? Like getting to meet these really inspiring people doing incredible things, hearing their story, and then helping to connect them to other people and, make collaborations, play hostess, all that fun stuff.
Right.
It's the change. It's the teacher. It's like trying to change someone's life and make an impact in their life. That's my favorite part.
Yeah. So you're based in Denver now?
That's a really tough question. I get asked a lot.
Yeah.
The day we signed a lease for this building, which was September 10th, 2018, I signed a lease for an apartment here in Denver. Okay. And so depending on what's going on in St. Louis and what's going on in Denver, I spend a lot of my time here, but I also still have an apartment back home.
Running that business as well.
Yeah, not having a background in business, this whole scaling and growing has been such a huge learning curve for me. And it's, from January to April, I was in Denver a ton and had my eye off of St. Louis.
Okay.
They compare starting a business to having kids. I don't have kids, but, it really is like having kids. I had my second baby and I'd been ignoring my first baby for a really long time. And that baby was not so thrilled about that.
Right.
And, you start to see how that had an impact. And so I had to go home and clean up some mess.
Yep.
And
give it a little more attention.
Give it more love and attention. And so I've done that and righted the ship. And so just trying to learn, how do you keep both places? If I was the one really driving things,
right.
How do you keep things going when you're not there? It has been a big opportunity for growth.
Yeah. It's actually, what you're touching on is a topic of a lot of these podcasts that we've recorded. A lot of business owners are at varying levels of kind of figuring out what works for them. And one thing the themes are building a rock star team,
right.
and then trust has a lot to do with it. If you build a rock star team that you trust. And I'm always working on that myself.
Right. Well, I think a lot of founders have what I call founder's disease, right? It's like, it's our baby. There's a lot of, I am a kind of a control freak, and, it's hard to kind of give up some of that control. And what makes me successful as a CEO isn't always what makes you successful in hiring and training staff. Like the ops side of my business is the hardest side of my business, right? So, so it's been a lot of fun growing.
That's great, yeah. Well, appreciate your kind of sharing the story of Rise Collaborative.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a wild ride.
Jump a little farther back.
Absolutely.
Talk to us about your past and what you were saying. You were a math teacher for a while.
Yeah, so I'm a big math nerd at heart. I have a degree in math and math education. I can remember sitting in math in college and thinking I either want to be a CEO of some company or I want to go be a principal of a high school. I mean, I don't know where I came up with this stuff, sitting as a 20-year-old in my math class being ADD.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even know that CEO stood for Chief Executive Officer. I just knew it meant boss.
Okay.
So you can kind of see a theme here, embarrassingly enough. So it made sense that I started down the path of the career that I actually knew what it meant. So I started as a high school math teacher and pursued my master's in administration right out of college and interned as a principal at 24.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what you were like as a 24-year-old.
I was trying to figure my way through life.
I mean, you barely know how to be an adult, right?
Right.
So imagine trying to be a principal and disciplining 17 and 18-year-olds.
Oh, my goodness.
And then also imagine trying to tell 50-year-olds how to be a good teacher when you yourself have only taught for 2 years. So that was a little obnoxious on my end. This blind ambition, I guess, was in me from day one. So I didn't love that job. So I went back and got a second master's in school administration. Oh, I'm sorry, school counseling. It's been a day.
Oh, okay.
I thought, I want to be the good guy. You know, like, I don't want to be disciplining these high schoolers. I want to talk about life and help them figure out who they are and what they want to be when they grow up.
Yeah.
It sounded like a much better job. That master's took me much longer and much more money. You can see where this is going, considering we're sitting here talking about Rice Collaborative. At 33, I finished that master's intern, and I was like, oh my goodness, I just did it again. I'm now highly educated, so to speak, with 2 undergraduate degrees and 2 masters, and I'm floundering in life. Like, what do I want to be when I grow up?
Yeah.
And life has a funny way of sending you loud messages. Sometimes they're good ones, sometimes they're not. A young woman at my school died by suicide that year, and for me, that was just a tipping point. You know, I was just like, enough's enough. High school is no fun for a lot of kids, both boys and girls. I'm just not going to mess with the boy problems. And so January 2013, I started a tutoring coaching company for high school girls. I was still teaching full time, but thought, you know what? These girls are all sitting around me, and I need to figure out how I can support them on their journey.
Right. Is this also part of the time that you were the counselor as well?
I was still interning as a counselor.
Okay.
I was, but I was a horrible math teacher that year because I would stand up and teach math, you know, for like 20 minutes, and then I'd sit down and I'd have my target market right in front of me, and asking them, you know, what do you need? What can I create? How can I help you? I had the idea in January 2013. My first dollar I made was like January 26th, let's say, booking a trip for 5 young women over to Bali.
Oh, my goodness.
For service, sightseeing, and nightly seminars. Yeah. Because I was like, what helped me to dream and achieve big and travel? So I was just throwing spaghetti at the wall, and if the students bit, I had a business.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
And it sounds like, would you say that is that event, that suicide and kind of what you created after that, out of that, was the catalyst for this journey that you're now on?
I would say a couple things. So, and it's weird timing in life. And at the time, I don't think I realized it. It's more about looking backwards. It's that Steve Jobs quote, something like, you can't connect the dots forward. I'm probably butchering this quote. It's about connecting the dots backwards.
Right.
That's what it's been. So July 4th is when she died. And then like the end of that month, I met a gentleman who started a company when he was 26. At 31, his company had $40 million in revenue.
Whoa. Nice.
I had never met people like this in my life. I grew up very lower middle class. My dad was like a middle manager at some corporate company. My mom was a teacher and secretary. Like, those people were so different. And I thought so much smarter than me. And when I realized this guy who's lovely, but no smarter than me, I might even be a little smarter than him. Right? If he can have a company for $40 million, I think I can do something too.
Right.
So those two things, happening so back to back. And then, of course, Sheryl Sandberg's TED Talk came out, that Lean In TED Talk. Now, I know her message is flawed, and I know not everyone loves it. But for me, that TED Talk was a really pivotal point. She was the first one I felt like really starting this conversation about leaning in, going after things and trying to change the conversation for women.
Interesting. I'm not sure if I've seen that.
Yeah, you'll have to see it. She has a book called Lean In, and what was interesting is, so she does this TED Talk, it goes viral, really starts a conversation, and then she launches her book and then a website, and I had the good fortune of being featured on her website, and for like a day, maybe 2 if I was lucky, my face was on her website next to Oprah.
Oh my goodness.
And Ryan Seacrest. And I can remember like losing my mind about the Oprah, like anywhere near being Oprah. And I showed it to my students because I was still teaching, and they could care less about Oprah. They were freaking out about Ryan Seacrest. And I was like, seriously? I don't think it's still up like that. I mean, it really was probably a couple of days, just timing wise.
So was she featuring your book or your?
She was featuring my journey. Her website was featuring people really leaning in, this idea of women taking control of their life and going after their dreams and doing big things, so to speak.
Wow.
I'm probably butchering, all that she was doing. And in the women's space, Lean In lands very differently for many people. And at the end of the day, yes, there's some critiques to what she was saying, but regardless, she started a conversation that we weren't having. And so I think it was really important what she did.
Yeah, that's great. And amazing that you were featured on her.
It's all about timing and dumb luck, right?
Yeah. When did that speech come out? Or when did she give that TED
I can
Talk?
say that I saw her TED Talk October of 2013. No, the suicide was 2012. October 2012. So it was like these,
after.
suicide, meeting this entrepreneur, watching her TED Talk, and Brene Brown. That was when Brene Brown's TED Talk that went viral went out too.
Yep. Power of vulnerability.
Yes, I'm a huge Brene Brown fan.
Yeah.
And so, I watched her TED Talk and Sheryl Sandberg's back to back. So those three things happening, the TED Talks, the suicide, and the entrepreneur really set my life on this whole different path that I never would have predicted to you. When I told my parents I was going to leave teaching to be an entrepreneur, they thought I lost my mind.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, you're going to try to make a living doing what?
That's not the world they live in.
That is not the world they live in. They often say, are entrepreneurs born or made? If it's made, I was definitely not made.
Right.
This is just something in me from day one. My mom and I used to go to lunch every Saturday. I can't do that while I'm in Denver. And at Nordstrom's Bistro, and be sitting there, and finally one day I had to say, like, Mom, I need your support. This is the first time in my life you've always been my cheerleader. You've always been my champion, and for some reason you're not right now. And she is sitting there bawling. It was so embarrassing for her, but but it was just that it stirred up so much fear in her, and it's such this like unknown that she couldn't wrap her head around it. And she's like, I just don't know if I could do it authentically. And I was like, I don't care, then just fake it. At this point, I don't care.
Yeah.
I get that you're scared. I just need your support. And even if it's not sincere, totally fine by me. And that was a big tipping point that finally was freeing her up to do that. And now she is my biggest cheerleader. And it's a little embarrassing.
Has she made it out to Denver yet?
Oh, she has. She has. Not too long ago.
Oh, yep. Great.
Yep. So it's been a fun ride.
Oh, man, that's a great background. And that's your why.
Well, I always say you need to be very clear in your why, but you need to be flexible in your how and your what. Okay, right? Yeah. Like my why has not changed. Trying to change young women's lives, that has not changed. But, first it was through a tutoring coaching company. Then it's through, opening this female-focused co-working, or tutoring coaching company, female-focused co-working space. And my next venture is going to be starting a real estate company. My how and my what are all changing, but my why, there's a common thread throughout it all, trying to create a pipeline for success for young women.
Do you want to talk any more about the real estate
I'm happy
venture?
to.
Yeah, so how is that?
Speaking to a real estate guy.
Yeah. How is
You're
that
like, tell me more.
Yeah. I guess how's that going to be female focused?
Yeah, so here's the thing. So Rise Collaborative, we lease space. We had 6,000 square feet in my first space. Here in Denver, we're at 11,000 square feet. And this experience has brought awareness that real estate often is not owned by women or minorities. And so when women and minorities don't have the power, so to speak, it's not as accessible to us.
Right.
And there's a lot of bumps along the way. And I've experienced some of those bumps more recently. And so, we got to change the conversation. And how do I change that conversation? I change that conversation by raising capital with women and minorities, and we buy the buildings. And it's our buildings, and we treat people right.
Yeah.
And so I would like my third location to own the building through a separate real estate company. And I would like Rise Collaborative to be an anchor tenant, and then I would like to help develop out all the other parts of the real estate, and I would love to see it make it more accessible to women and minorities.
I love it.
It's still creating that pipeline for success. We're grabbing high school girls through our nonprofit, and then we're supporting women on their journey, no matter where they are on that journey. Whether it's needing workspace in a co-working space, whether it's needing space by opening up your first cafe or retail shop or whatever it is. Either way, we're connecting the dots and being a support for women.
So that I don't forget to ask.
Yes.
And since it's fresh right now,
yeah.
If anyone wants to reach you to either offer capital or
I don't hate that.
want to inquire about membership at Rise Collaborative or anything, if they're up to something really cool and they want to collaborate, how do they reach you?
The best way is to follow me on social media. LinkedIn, I'm on LinkedIn all the time, Stacy Taubman, or on our channels through Instagram or Facebook, Rise Collaborative Workspace, or they can go to our website, riseworkspace.com.
Perfect. Okay.
Yes.
So what keeps you busy outside of work?
It's funny you should ask that. When my husband and I started dating a couple years ago, his friends were like, tell me about your girlfriend, what she's like, what are her hobbies? And he's like, work. I love what I do, and it fills up a lot of my time. But when I finally am trying to take a break, if I can, I like to read, I like to travel. I like to watch a lot of Netflix. I'm a little bit of a binge watcher. And now I like to go to Awaken Gym.
Oh, man.
And try to work out. I hadn't worked out in like 3 to 5 years.
So you, in the past, you've done gymnastics.
I was a competitive gymnast growing up.
Okay.
And that's the same thing. It's like I'm either on or off. When I was a competitive gymnast, I wanted to be in that gym every day as long as possible. And I actually talk about it in my second book about how, I grew up my childhood was challenging. I didn't start speaking till kindergarten. When I did finally start speaking, I had this really bad speech impediment where I couldn't say my R's or my S's.
Uh-huh.
So, academically, I was delayed. Physically, I was delayed. I was, teeny tiny, blah, 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 all the things.
You were just barely getting by.
I was just barely getting by. And so, and I was bullied and all those, sad stories. It wasn't until I stepped foot into a gym that I finally felt this sense of, this is home. This is where I belong. And this is where, being around all these different people from all different walks of life and us all working on, in some ways a common goal, but on our own paths, that I finally found myself and felt a sense of confidence. And I really think that gymnastics is the reason I'm successful today. And since then, I've been craving that feeling of that, having those people that are all striving around you and are all ambitious and working hard, but yet you're working hard on your own skills. But when you're there, you can kind of let down your guard and not worry about all the silliness that is happening back at school. That's a really impactful feeling. And so I really think sometimes that's why I created what I created. Because I basically still wanted that feeling as an adult, being able to walk into a place and feel at home and feel confident to take on the world.
Yeah. And it's clear too when you're in the gym.
Yeah.
How you operate, I think, is it's clear that you're committed to achieving certain,
Yes, I only have 2 speeds.
Skills,
yes,
certain skills.
Yes.
Yeah, and so it's just interesting. It's fun to watch. You've done this before. You know how this works. How hard you have to work the body and things like that to be able to achieve certain skills.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that translates to just about everything you do in life.
One of the instructors at the gym, I was there on Saturday when I was doing that tumbling. He's like, how many cups of coffee did you have? It's like, can you take a breath? Can you slow down? And I was like, a half a cup, sadly. I'm just, I'm just wired a certain way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I only have 2 speeds, on or off.
Wow.
Yeah.
So speaking of coffee, do you have a morning routine that you stick to?
Ish. I don't believe in waking up to an alarm. I hate when I have to wake up to an alarm. My first 12 years in the professional world, I had to be at school at 7, being a teacher. I felt like I graduated high school at 33 because think about it, I went high school, college, high school, and you live by the bells, you eat at a bell, you leave at a bell. And so leaving education, I'm like, screw it, I'm done. And so I love the idea of just waking up when I wake up, but my lovely dog makes sure to get me up.
Probably 5.
Oh, I hate him some mornings. I'd probably take him out around 7 on a good day. On a bad day, it's 5. I usually start by reading the news. On my phone, I get email blasts from all different, that was one of the things that helped me with Denver is I started subscribing to all these different publications. And so I start the day, what's happening in Denver, and then I get up and get ready and get to work. Yeah.
That's great.
And I actually do not have my first cup of coffee till I'm here. And most days I only get through a half a cup.
Wow.
People assume I'm drinking 10.
Yeah. I try to stick to 2 in the morning, but I definitely need one within the first 30 minutes of...
Totally.
I'm trying to push it to an hour, but before the cloud starts to roll into my brain, and it's hard to come back from that.
I know. Hey, I feel you. Yes. Yeah. So mornings are interesting, but I wake up and I'm ready to go. As obviously you could probably pick up on.
Excuse me. So I want to end this by just asking you some rapid fire questions.
I love
you already
these.
touched on one.
Sarcasm.
Just so we can get to know you deeper on a personal level.
Okay.
What are your favorite news sources?
Business Journal. I really like both St. Louis and Denver. Business. Yeah, St. Louis. I really believe our success was tied to the Business Journal. They were wonderfully kind to us, and same with Denver. So I love their publication.
Awesome. Do you have a favorite technology that you use all the time?
Sadly, my phone is connected to my hand at all time. It's embarrassing, but true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who are, if you can think of any, who are your heroes or maybe one?
Oh, I mean, Oprah, I've already mentioned. Love me some Oprah. I do love Sheryl Sandberg and the gal who started Spanx, but of course my brain is not working right now.
Her name.
Or her, yeah.
I cannot remember her name.
I've obviously not had enough coffee right now, but yeah, the founder of Spanx is amazing.
What's so you said Oprah the first?
Oh, absolutely. I grew up raising
characteristics.
Yeah, Gosh, I grew up watching her, and my mom's dream was to get on, be able to be in the audience, and so I would always be calling, trying to get her on there. Oprah is one of those people that's inspiring and relatable and strong, and really cares about people. I don't know. I just think she's fabulous.
That's great. And then I will cap it off by asking, do you have a favorite quote?
Yes, so here at Rise, we live by the quote, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with," by Jim Rohn. And I really believe it. I think who you surround yourself with shapes your reality of what's possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh, I love it.
Right?
That's great. Well, appreciate you being on the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Basically, the vision that we're creating here is a thriving business community based in generous leadership.
Oh, I like that.
And authentic connections.
Yeah.
So thank you for your generous leadership today.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.